ভজ গৌরাঙ্গ কহ গৌরাঙ্গ লহ গৌরাঙ্গের নাম রে। যেই জনা গৌরাঙ্গ ভজে সে হয় আমার প্রাণ রে। যেই জনা গৌরাঙ্গ ভজে সে হয় আমার প্রাণ রে। সে
Krishna.
হয় আমার
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to today's session. How are you doing? I pray that all is well with you and your family at this time. So we're moving on with our reading study. We'll start with the invocation. Vande Gurun Isabhaktam Isa Isavatarakam Tat Prakasham Tachatakti Sri Chaitanya Samyakam Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we continue with our reading study of the teachings of Lord Caitanya, which is the summary study of the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we catch it at this point in the preface. And he is worshipable by everyone in this age of disagreement. Everyone can join in the Sankirtan movement. No previous qualification is necessary. Just by following the teachings, anyone can become a perfect human being. So we see that following a teaching is more important than practicing religiosity or cultural aspects. The teaching is very important. That's the thing that creates the transformation. So in many of our practices, we have the teaching usually falls into philosophy, and some people feel, well, I'm not so philosophically inclined, it's a little too over my head. But understand that without teaching, there's nothing to fuel the mind. There's nothing to reset the mind. Remember, we were going over the components of the mind. And yesterday we completed the prophecies of Lord Caitanya, that he's not just an ordinary saint. He was predicted in Mahabharata, he was predicted in Agni Purana, he was predicted in Bhavishya Purana, he was predicted in Chaitanya Upanishad. So these are just some of the predictions from the Vedas directly that Lord Caitanya was predicted in. So we have to have some philosophy, otherwise there's nothing to tune the mind. The mind needs philosophy to tune. So it goes on to say, anyone who is fortunate enough to be attached to Lord Caitanya is sure to be successful in his life's mission. In other words, those who are interested in attaining spiritual existence can easily be released from the clutches of Maya by Lord Chaitanya's grace, now presented in book form as teachings of Lord Caitanya, which is non-different from the Lord. So by us making time, this 20 minutes every day, we are associating with Lord Caitanya directly through his teachings. So Prabhupada goes on, the conditioned soul engrossed in material body increases the pages of history by all kinds of material activities. Teachings of Lord Caitanya can help the members of human society stop such unnecessary and temporary activities and be elevated to the topmost platform of spiritual activity, which begin after liberation from material bondage. So just see where the platform of Lord Chaitanya's teachings is starting from. It's beginning after liberation. So it's taking us from zero and putting us after the point of liberation. This is how powerful the teachings of Lord Caitanya is. Let's go on. Such liberated activities in Krishna consciousness constitute the goal of human perfection. The false prestige one acquires by attempting to dominate material nature is illusionary. Illuminating knowledge can be acquired from teachings of Lord Caitanya, and by such knowledge one can advance in spiritual existence.
Everyone has to suffer or enjoy the fruits of his activities. No one can check the law of material nature that governs such things.
So if we're going to engage, 3.9, yesterday we quoted this verse, Yagyana karmano netra, lokayam karma bandhana, yatatam karma konteya mukta sangam samachara. That you have to do yagya, your activities have to become yagya, not just sitting and doing fire yagya, havan, just doing havan on its own. That's good because you're doing yagya, but your life has to become yagya. How do you transform your life into yagya? If you don't transform your life into yagya, then you're not living a pious life. You're living a sinful life. That Krishna says in 3.13 in the same chapter, just 4 verses after. Yagya shishta shinashanto muchayanti sarvikil bishai bujanti ye agham papam ye pashanti atmakaranat. He says, for those who are shanta, yagya, shista, shino, shanta, those who are saintly, they do yagya. Everything they do is yagya. There is no fruitive activity, no karma kant, no karma they incur. Why? Bujanti ye agam papam. If you don't do this yagya, then everything you do is papam. It's just sin. If you take food and if you eating and all the activities, everything that you do, if you don't offer it, it's bujanti ye agham papam. It becomes sin. We verily eating only sin because it's not offered as yagya. So therefore Krishna is warning that transform your life so everything you do is yagya. Therefore when Lord Caitanya was predicted, this Sankirtan yagya he called it. Krishna Bana Trisa Krishna Sangopangascha Parshada Yagya Sankirtana Prair Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In the end of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is predicted in this verse, and it's saying that these people who will follow Lord Caitanya, they'll be Sumedaha. Medaha means intelligent. Sumeda, very intelligent. Ooh, they'll be very intelligent people. Why? Yajna Sankirtana Prair. They will do yajna. What yajna? Sankirtan yajna. They will chant the names of the Lord as the yagya for this age of Kali. And Krishna also says this in Gita, 9th chapter. Satatam kirtayanto mam yetantasya dhritavrata namasham chasthamam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So he's saying, how do you recognize my devotees? Satatam kirtayanto mam. They'll always be doing my kirtan. Satatam kirtan. Yanto mam. They're always doing my kirtan. So this is definitions given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that for the devotees of the Lord, this is the yagya they execute. Prabhupada goes on. As long as one is engaged in fruitive activity, one is sure to be baffled in his attempt to attain the ultimate goal of life. I sincerely hope that by understanding teachings of Lord Caitanya, human society will experience a new light of spiritual life, which will open the field of activity for the pure soul. Om Tat Sat, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 14th March 1968, the birthday of Lord Caitanya, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple, New York. So we can see Lord Caitanya's teachings is guiding us towards Uttama Bhakti. You remember our definition? Anya Bilashita Shunyam. It must be free from karma and jnana. Jnana karma anavrita. Then it's Anukalyana Krishna Anushilanam. Then it pleases Krishna. Bhakti Uttama. This is the definition of the topmost devotion. So if we're doing anything less than that, we're either cheating ourselves or cheating others. It's a tough reality, but we have to face reality if we're going to transcend reality. If we don't face reality and think we're carrying on with this illusion and playing house game, that I am a mother, I am a father, these are my children, these are my friends, how long are we going to play this game? Before the reality sets in, and again, how many lifetimes we're playing this game? So Lord Caitanya is now saying, I've come to teach you what is pure bhakti, uttama bhakti, free from this fruitive result, because this is going to bind you, karma bandhana.
So I'm here to help you to transcend it. So we've just finished the preface. We start now with the prologue, and this is a beautiful summary of some of the beautiful pastimes of Lord Caitanya, and it's coming from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We are mentioning he was the first one who wrote this book, Teachings of Lord Caitanya and His Precepts. Let's see what Prabhupada says here. So TLC Prologue by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This account originally appeared in a short work by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur entitled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts, August 20th, 1896. So what is significant 1896? That's the year Srila Prabhupada was born. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So that same year this book went to the West. So it goes on. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in Mayapur, in the town of Nadia, just after sunset on the evening of the 23rd Falgun 1407, Shakabda answering to 18th of February 1486. So the original birth date of Lord Caitanya, 18 February. Anybody born on 18 February? Very lucky. You were born on the birth date of Lord Caitanya, but on 1486. Let's see. Of the Christian era, the moon was eclipsed at the time of his birth, and the people of Nadia were then engaged as usual on such occasions in bathing in the Bhagirathi with loud cheers of Haribol. So we know that during the eclipse one should cover everything and one should not go anywhere because it's very inauspicious time. Because when the sun is being blocked, it's very inauspicious. That's the source of all forms of life on this planet. So when it's being blocked, it's inauspicious. So whenever the moon or the sun is being blocked, it's very inauspicious. So now that time you either cover up or do chanting or stay at home, or you bathe in the Ganga, Bhagirathi. So devotees at Mayapur, Ganga is just 100, 200 meters from where we are. It's just here. So devotees, everybody goes and gather in the Ganga and they chant Hari Bol. Now we know Hari Bol means different things for different devotees. One can say, oh, Hari Bol. It's like, oh, joyous. Or you can get some news and say, oh, Hari Bol. So we used to have one devotee in Vrindavan, a very elderly Mataji from Argentina. We used to call her Mummy because she gave that, she told everybody, you all call me Mummy. She was like our mother there, especially all the pujaris. So she would say, when you give us some any news or bad news or some shit, oh, Hari Bol. So Hari Bol means different things. How you say it means different things. But these people were chanting in Bhagirathi. Although it was inauspicious, they were chanting Hari, Hari, Hari Bol, the names of Hari. And Hari means, in Sanskrit, he who takes away all distress. Hari. So let's go on. His father was Jagannath Mishra, a poor Brahmana of Vedic order, and his mother was Sachi Devi, a model good woman, both descended from Brahmana stock. So we can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born in a Brahmana family. Both mother and father are Brahman descent. So we don't worry about that caste system so much now, but in those days it was important because by that you would define your work, not using it to criticize others, but define your work. If you're Brahmanically inclined, you are more involved with guidance, scripture, philosophy. That would be your proclivity. So we can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in that line of Brahmanas family. Originally residing in Shayat, Mahaprabhu was a beautiful child, and ladies of the town came to see him with presents. His mother's father, Pandit Nilambar Chakravarti, a renowned astrologer. So this Chakravarti surname is even up to now in India, one knows that this is a Brahmanical surname. Anybody has a surname Chakravarti, Sharma,
These are all Brahman caste. It comes from Brahman line. So grandfather, this was the mother's father, so his grandfather was a renowned astrologer, Nilambar Chakravarti. And we'll see he was the one who was good friends, village friends with Chan Kazi. We remember that story, the Muslim leader. So we'll come to that one. So he goes on to say, foretold that the child would be a great personage in time, and he therefore gave him the name Vishvambara. So you remember that definition came. Two definitions of Vishvambara. One was the maintainer of the universe, and the other one was the leader of the universe. We just read that yesterday. So that name now was given by Nilambar Chakravarti, his grandfather, Vishvambara. We know this in Indian families, you have minimum 10 names. Pinky, Rinky, Dinky, all this kind of names is the friend names. In the row, when you're playing with the friends, then slowly that gets into home names. Then they call Battu, Chintu, Pintu. We start getting all these names. I'm not going to ask you all what's y'all's house name. I know every one of y'all also got. No. How I know? Because I also got. Everybody got some nicknames that they call in the house, and friends call different names. You end up with 10, 20 names by the time Namacharyas we become. So we go on. The ladies of the neighborhood styled him Gaura Hari on account of his golden complexion, and his mother called him Nimai on account of the neem tree near which he was born. So it's very auspicious to have neem trees. I remember when we were growing up, my aunt's house next door, you remember the one who passed away earlier this year. So they had two huge neem trees in the front yard. So if you have those trees, neem tree gives 24-hour oxygen, and also no subtle entities comes to your property, because they don't like the neem tree. So that name was given by his mother, Nimai, and we can see the ladies called him Gaura Hari. So already 3 names now. So by the time we finish, we're going to get Mahaprabhu Sahasranam, 1,000 names of Chaitanya. How you think all these astikams come by? All like they put it all together, create one astikam. So we must do the same thing. Put all our names together and keep one astikam for you. So we go on. Beautiful as the lad was, everyone heartily loved to see him every day. As he grew up, he became a whimsical and frolicsome lad. After his 5th year, he was admitted into a patashala, a school, where he picked up Bengali in a very short time. Most of his contemporary biographers have mentioned certain anecdotes regarding Caitanya, which are simple records of his early miracles. It is said that when he was an infant in his mother's arms, he wept constantly, and when the neighboring ladies cried, Hari Bol, he used to stop. Thus there was continuation of the utterance of Hari Bol in the house, foreshowing the future mission of the hero. It was also being stated that when his mother once gave him sweetmeats to eat, he ate clay instead of the food. His mother asking for a reason, he stated that as every sweetmeat was nothing but clay transformed, he could eat clay as well. His mother, who was the consort of a Pandit, you must remember she's also a Brahmani, so she's very intelligent, very intuitive. Now this is Brahmanda Leela, this Brahmanda Ghat, Krishna eating the dirt, same Mahaprabhu eating the clay here. So we can see his logic. He goes on, explain that every article in a special state was adapted to a special use. Earth, while in the state of a jug, could be used as a water pot, but in the state of a brick
such a use was not possible. Clay, therefore, in the form of sweetmeats, was unusable as food, but not clay in its other state. The lad was convinced and admitted his stupidity in eating clay and agreed to avoid the mistake in the future.
So this is the also giving the insight of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeating Mayavad. This is Mayavad philosophy, that all is one. Clay is one and food is one. It comes from the same place. Then why do we have to eat food, eat clay? By that logic. So Prabhupada was asked this, he would say, yes, water is everywhere. Why don't you drink water from the air? Why you need to drink from the tap? Water vapor in the air. Why do you have to drink from the tap? Because in that form you can't process it. Just like that, they were in Kumbh Mela once, and one Mayavadi sannyasi came. So our 20 minutes is up. Please join us again tomorrow for the continuation of the story. Hare Krishna.